All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. And I'm just testing my mic right now. Let me know that you can hear me, please, and that you can see my chart, and then we'll get started. So if a few of you just type in, yes, I can see you and I can hear you, and that would be a good start. So I see a lot of friends here. Doc, nice to see you. Michael and Simone, thanks for asking. Yes, you can see a picture. You can't really see me. If you're absolutely dying to see me, that's me. I am alive, still alive after all these years. So, welcome everybody. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director at 10 Minute Trades. And I guess I'm going to start out by saying something unbelievable, but I'm not going to try to sell you a single thing today. Nothing. Not going to ask for one penny. What do you think of that? All I'm going to do is talk about our upcoming challenge, and we've been doing challenges which are really interesting, and I'll explain what it is. And then I just want to talk a little bit about 10-minute trades, what the company is, what we're all about. And that's it. No money, no nothing except education and talking and being pals. All right. So my name is Lee Goldstein. That's my lovely daughter. And keep write down a couple of these things or take a picture. www.fdbchallenge.com. You want to keep track of that. And again, I'm not charging you a thing for anything. I'm Lee, and that's Eric, one of the partners in 10 Minute Trades. And I'm going to talk about why a challenge is fun, what it is, why it's a big deal, and it also has prizes and gifts. It's kind of interesting as you learn about appointment based trading. So, the first thing we're going to start with is a little bit about our company and what we do. So, we really have four elements that make up 10-minute trades. We have the WMM, which is the weekly market mover, that is our schedule. We have the daily market mover, the DMM, that is our daily trade report. So, for instance, if there's going to be an important event that we're going to trade, the day before that event, we're going to send you our daily market mover. It's going to be a trade setup or a couple of setups on how we're going to trade that particular event. So, that's element number two. The third element that's important is our trade room because pretty much everything flows from the trade room. We talk about our setups. And then the fourth element is our software. And I'm just going to touch on all of those elements a little bit today, show you some recent trades. Earnings are coming up. There's a lot of exciting things happening in the markets. And even though the markets are extremely difficult, that doesn't mean that there is not a way to trade them. We have been in business for this, the company I'm working for now is celebrating their 10th anniversary. I can't believe it, but I'm in my sixth year, maybe even the seventh, sort of losing track these days. But I've been here at least 6 years, trading news and events and, teaching people all about appointment based trading. To me, it's one of the best ways to trade. And even if you're a right line member or a right line trader, or you want to learn about right line, using some of their tools and integrating our concept of time can actually help you to become an even better right line trader. So it's something to understand. If you understand that the markets give you very strong opportunities on a schedule, then you can take all the tools you have, aggregate them, and use the whole concept of a schedule to make your existing tools that much more powerful. So I think the first step and the most important step is understanding what we mean by trading on a schedule. And basically, every Sunday, I sit down on Thursday and I get the schedule ready for an email on Sunday, and we send it out to all of our members and actually all of our friends because you can get our schedule for free. We don't charge for it. It's the free weekly schedule, and any trader can put it to good use because if you have the schedule, then you know what's going on in the market. It could help you to be safe in an upcoming market. So This is the beginnings of next week's schedule. And you'll notice that we've got Australia retail sales Monday evening at 8:30 Eastern Time. Tuesday, there's CB consumer confidence and API crude oil report. But the point is, these are all the important events that we know that there's a really good possibility that these events are going to move the futures markets. So I do want to make that clear. We're trading futures, and we also use the NinjaTrader platform to help us in our trading. So element number one is you take that weekly market mover, the weekly schedule, and you can plot out all the times that week that you want to trade. Then element number two, and some of my slides I've gone through, of course, just to cover the disclaimer, you know that it's possible to lose money trading and trading futures. So, of course, don't trade money you can't afford to lose. Be careful, trade smart. You hear this all the time, okay? Be careful. So, again, just as a reminder, we trade futures contracts. We call what we do appointment based trading, and we're using the NinjaTrader platform. Now, that doesn't mean you absolutely cannot use a different platform. We have many members that come into our trade room, and some of them might be using Thinkorswim or they might be using MetaTrader. You can manually set up a lot of our trades, but it is easier. And the ideal way to do what we do is to use that fourth element, which would be our JOBB software. Our software helps you to set up our trades because think about it. If you're trading an event, like for instance, this past week, we traded the FOMC statement. Now, everybody knows, you watch CNBC before the news, and actually people come out and they say, I recommend you don't even trade today. This is a very risky, volatile day. Don't trade. I'm not trading till tomorrow. And, for some people, that is true. If you're a swing trader, you want to be careful. If you're a day trader, you want to be super careful because you want to know maybe you shouldn't be in the market 20 seconds or a minute before the Fed announces their interest rate decision. It could blow you out of a trade. So, understanding when you're supposed to trade, knowing when you should be in the market because you have a schedule that makes you a smart trader, that's very important. Use the times to your advantage. Don't be a victim of not knowing what's going on at a certain time. So it's very important to know what the time is. And getting back to the software, our software helps you to trade those events because our software can automate the entry. So, what do I mean by that? So, first off, what do I even mean by trading an event? So, let me get there. Let's go in order. So, an appointment based trading method, right? It's just a simple time based approach. We're going to schedule our trades on certain days at specific times. And you could do it up to a month in advance, but generally a week is great because you'll have a weekly schedule. All trading has risk, obviously. Trading events is no riskier than other forms of trading, especially when you have tools that help you to trade the events as safely as possible. Okay. So it's very important to use the right tools. So for me, I absolutely hate being in the market. I know that the longer I'm in the market that day, there's a greater chance that the market is going to take away my money. The shortest amount of time that I spend in the market is going to give me the best opportunity to make more money because ultimately the market is pretty unforgiving and we're human and we humans make mistakes. So we want to limit our time in the market so that we can maximize our profits. And a lot of people say this, but I really believe it to be true. The less time you're in the market, the better opportunity for profit, and the less you trade, the more you can make. I know that seems counterintuitive in some ways, but it really is true. You got to know when, why, and how to do it. Okay. And this is what I have found over the years. Trading on a schedule also means that I could save a lot of time in this day and age where just concentrating on something for 10 minutes or 20 minutes takes an enormous amount of dedication because there's so many things going on in life. Our trading system really could be limited to a couple of hours a week, 10 minutes a day, if you really just want to get the setup, make the trade, and go back to what you were doing before you were trading. That's the concept for our trading. Now, if you want to do a deeper dive into what we do and learn to find your own and design your own trades, that's all very possible too. But let's be honest, if you're going to become an expert at something, you're not going to do it in 1 minute a day. You're going to have to put the time in, whether it's a 10-minute a day system or a 3 hour a day system. Don't let anybody try to pull the wool over your eyes. To do anything well, you have to practice and learn. But our system is beautiful because once you practice and get the basics down, you could get your time such that you don't have to spend hours and hours and hours waiting for setups. Half the time the setups don't come. It's a totally different way of trading. Appointment based trading, we love doing it, and it's very powerful. You don't have to spend nearly as much time studying Elliott waves and candlesticks and Fibonacci and Ichimoku clouds. There's a couple of simple indicators that you want to master, and that really is the whole concept to appointment based trading. Trades are quick, usually 5 to 10 minutes, if not a minute or less on many trades. And it's fantastic to have a set schedule every week. And then one of the other things that people say is, why do you teach? If you're so great, your system's so incredible, why don't you just trade? Well, you know what? I happen to like people. I love the one on one, the community, the time spent in the trade room doing tutorials and lessons. I really enjoy the back and forth. And teaching makes me a better trader because it makes me focus on all the things that are important in setting up the trades. So, someone who says, if you're so great, why bother teaching? There's absolutely no truth to that because a lot of us out here, we actually like people and we like trading and teaching trading. And I love it when someone I taught is doing way better than I'm doing. And when they email me, hey, I made 10 times as much as you made on that trade, then I know I'm doing a great job. And that happens all the time. So we have lots of members that send us their trades, their screenshots. And in fact, let me show you a member. We have a feature at 10 Minute Trades that we call Members Trade of the Week. A lot of you probably get some of our emails, and every week we pick our member who had the best trade. If we can get them to record them, the hardest part is bugging people and getting you all to make the recordings, if you know what I mean. But when we do get you to do it, it's great because you send us such fantastic videos. Let me show you a recent member trade of the week. And it was really cool because this particular member was trading. I hope that I have this video. He was trading the US jobs report, which is a very difficult report to trade because it's quite volatile. It's a very important report. And these days, what's happening is the brokers are creating what we call a margin event. So on some of the news events, they're actually raising margins. So it makes it tricky to trade. Now, it's unfortunate I don't have the particular jobs report, but it's okay because I have an FOMC report, which is just as hard to trade. Now, this was an event that one of our members made $1,000 on this FOMC minutes. So what happens is you have the FOMC meeting that took place yesterday. And then about 10 days to 14 days after, they release the minutes and they have more comments that they make about what the Fed is going to do. And it does create quite a volatile trading opportunity. 2 o'clock on a Wednesday, it's almost always on a Wednesday. And we have a special setup that we use for the FOMC minutes. And you could see it here that our orders are these little X's that appear on the charts. This orange arrow is the actual current price of the instrument that is being traded. In this case, we were trading the mini S&P futures, and we have an event or a type of trade that we call the trap trade. It's a trade that if the price goes up, we sell the market, and if the price goes down, we buy the market, and then we make our money when the price reverses. So it's a specialized reversal trade. You could see that the ES was chopping around a bit as the minutes were released, and then it gets filled to the short side. It goes up. We're now in an immediate profit because we were filled short. The price started dropping, and that's where you make your money. So the member stayed in the trade, the price kept dropping, and when he got out, by the time he got out of the trade, he had $1,000 in profit. And the concept, just so you see it, price went up and we sell short. You could see that there's a short order. And then when price reversed, that's when you take your profit. Now, in this case, the actual screenshots you're looking at was my actual trade, and our member actually sold when the price got lower on the screen. You can see the red candle here. Phil was up here and the sell was down here. And for his trade, that gave him $1,000 of profit. So that explains how a trade gets triggered. So every day, once you learn about what the calendars are, so in other words, how do you find these 10-minute trades? Well, you go to the various calendars that are out there in the market, for instance, Forex Factory. And when you go to Forex Factory, you just click on the word calendar, and then it gives you a listing of all the events that are taking place in the markets, or most of the events, that upcoming week. So, for instance, there happened to be a Fed announcement last Sunday evening. There are Euro, German PPI reports, New Zealand trade balance, Australia, and all of these events are tradable with futures. So for us, we might trade the Canadian dollar on Canada's CPI report. We might trade gold on the US existing homes report. And we might trade the NQ, for instance, like we did on yesterday's FOMC statement report. So, I talked a little bit about the four elements, right? The four elements that we have that make up our system: the daily report, the schedule, and the software, and the trade room. And why is the software so important? Because the software helps us to bracket these fast moving events. In a fast moving event, you can create your own brackets using whatever software you're using, as long as you have chart trading, which means that you can put orders on your chart and move the orders around. But when you have software that can do it for you, so to give you an idea, first of all, what I mean by a bracket. So we're looking at a price chart, and in the middle here is the candle. Where is that represents the current price? Right there. And then, oops, this here is our order to go long, okay, if we're going to buy the market. And then down here is our order to go short if we're going to sell the market. And what happens is news comes out and it takes the current price. Let's say you're trading gold, and for instance, the FOMC raises the interest rates. That might cause gold to move powerful in one direction or the other. It explodes through your order, filling the order when it goes through that price level. That's what we mean by bracketing a trade. It's the news release that creates that explosive movement in the market that will then pull you into the market, filling your trade. And then, so we have software, for instance, right? And follow me here. So the day before an event, we will send out a daily market mover, a report, and it looks something like this. And this yellow line here represents the way we're going to trade the particular report. So for instance, let me show you yesterday's exact trade that we took, because everybody tells you you can't trade the FOMC. It's way too volatile. And there is truth to that. It is a volatile event. But again, if you have software that helps you automate the trade, especially the entries, right? Then you have a way that you can get into the trade without fumbling around on the screen. You don't have to move your orders. You don't have to move your brackets around, and you can just get into the trade. So first, let me show you, I'll show you our profit screen, because this is real live money. It's got my real account on it. But we made a quick 500 bucks yesterday trading the FOMC. And all I did was traded one little NQ contract, and we went for 100 ticks. Why did we go for 100 ticks of profit? So let me show you the video that I made in the trade room of this event, because I'll go through some of the steps that we take to trade such a volatile event. So the first thing that we had to deal with yesterday is the brokers. They love scaring the heck out of you. They love, trying to make it harder to trade, right? Don't you get that feeling sometimes that the broker is trying to make your life tough? Well, so what they do on some events is they're raising the margins. So you have to have more money to trade. So the first thing we checked is what's it going to cost to trade the NQ, and we felt that they were going to raise the margins. So we didn't want to trade 5 contracts. We figured we better just trade 1 or 2. When we come into the trade room, we show everybody our daily market report that we sent out the day before. Now, if you look at this report, you can see under the yellow spot on the report, there's a journal, and it's got the last 6 FOMC trading events that we traded. And it's got the movement in ticks that the event spiked. So in other words, in February, there was a 268 tick spike. In December, there was a 600 tick spike. November, a 285 tick spike. September, it was a whipsaw, and it spiked and reversed and spiked and reversed, but even still, it was 60 ticks. The point being, when you study the event, rather than Elliott wave or Fibonacci's, you're putting the same kind of time in, but instead of studying the technical analysis of the event, we're studying the way the event reacted to the news. So we know that this event had very large spikes, and most of the time it was tradable with the NQ in one direction. So we had a trade setup where we have a bracket of 80 ticks, which is huge, but that keeps you safe if the price jumps up and down after the news is released, but doesn't find a direction. And then we just had targets of 40 ticks and 80 ticks if you traded multiple contracts. And we also had a stop. So everything that we were doing was as defined as it possibly could be. And then the markets get ready to release the news. We set up our trade, and I used our software. And in this particular instance, our software is like a super ATM. It allows me to just type in numbers, what my bracket was, 80 ticks, what my target was. I knew I wanted to go for 100 ticks, and I knew my stop was 40 ticks. So as simple as that, I type the numbers into the software, and then we just wait for the event. We're just watching in the trade room. We're chatting. We're watching the charts. We're checking our time to make sure our computer is in sync, and we're just hanging out, talking about the trade, starting to focus. We're now 20 seconds away from the Fed releasing their minutes, not their minutes, their rate announcement. And yesterday, nobody knew what was going to happen. Everyone was thinking this was going to be frighteningly volatile. Maybe they won't raise rates because they've screwed things up, and the interest rates are creating all of these bank problems. It was very, very up in the air what the Fed might do. We're waiting in the room, bated breath. It's a little bit nerve-wracking when you get ready to trade, but we have our software. We know our orders are going to show up a second before the news. There's our orders. So the way that this works, our orders show up on the chart, and then the news is released. You could see that gold actually started moving before the NQ, which is the left side of the chart. Gold had a pretty interesting move, actually. And I'm just looking at it to see. I'm always curious to see if there's a different, more profitable setup that maybe we could have used on gold. So, just watching gold out of the corner of my eye and the NQ on the left, it gives you an idea of what instruments are tradable on this event. Our brackets show up. I'm watching gold out of the corner of my eye. I'm thinking to myself, wow, I thought this would be a much faster explosion on the NQ. 10 seconds, and I'm still hasn't even filled my order. And I was saying to the room, I remember saying to the room, I'm saying, oh man, this is making me a little bit nervous. And then all of a sudden, the NQ starts to pop. It explodes to the upside, goes through my 100 tick target, $500, and that was 32 seconds live, real money. That's exactly what took place in the trade room, trading the FOMC. That was a pretty much a stressless trade, other than the psychology of worrying, only that it didn't explode more quickly. It took 13, 14, almost 15 seconds before the NQ. It took more, it took almost 20 seconds before the NQ really started moving up. But once it did, you could see that it filled us, and then it went straight up through our 100 tick target and went. I should have had a 150 tick target because it would have hit that as well. But that's how we traded the FOMC. That took all four of our elements, right? All four of our elements, put them all together, and created that trade. So let's just review that for a second. So it all started with our Sunday schedule. Everybody knows what's on the schedule Sunday, and they could see it's FOMC on Wednesday. Everybody knows that was probably going to be our stream of the week on YouTube. And then everybody waits for Tuesday to see what the DMM is going to be, what the daily report. The daily report, as I showed you in the video, it came through. I'll happily show you again. That's the daily report that we sent everybody. And our trade setup was use an 80 tick bracket, trigger the trade 1 second before 2 p.m. Eastern time. If you're going to trade multiple targets, you could trade 40 ticks and 80 ticks on your targets with a 40 tick stop. And I explained to everybody in the room I was going to trade one contract. I was going to go for 100 ticks. And I was honestly expecting to make that money. And we did. And that used all the elements: software, schedule, daily trade report, and of course, talking about it in the trade room. And that's what we do at 10-minute trades. We use futures to trade earnings. Earnings season is coming up. April 18th is our first big earnings trade. We'll trade Netflix. And I have a trade from last quarter's Netflix earnings trade. I hope if I did my homework properly, I should have my Netflix trade. These are not 10-year-old trades. This was the most recent Netflix. And very similar to what we do with the FOMC, we do a lot of homework to figure out approximately what time Netflix is going to release their earnings. Years ago, we discovered that there are a selection of stocks that move incredibly well on the NQ futures or on the YM futures when they release their earnings. And certainly all the FANG stocks fit that bill: Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. We can't call them FANG stocks anymore because Meta changed their name. So we'll go FAMANG, I guess we'll have to call it FAMANG stocks. Facebook, Meta, Apple, Amazon. Make a long story short, but we know that Netflix releases their earnings very close to the market close. We have a setup. We also have some interesting features that we can use. We also maintain a small account with Thinkorswim, and we bring our Thinkorswim charts into the trade room so we could look at the actual stock chart. And also, we have a multi broker Ninja Trader account so that we could actually see the Netflix chart on our Ninja Trader account. And we set up a bracket trade for Netflix. And again, we know from studying that Netflix, they're going to release their earnings seconds after the market closes, almost always on the date that they're scheduled to release their earnings. And you can see the stock starts to act very strangely. It bursts up and down, and the NQ explodes to the upside, filling an excellent $600 trade in 20 seconds, 28 seconds. And Netflix isn't done with their stock move yet. But you could see it bursts to the upside, and the NQ bursts to the upside as well for that Netflix earnings. So look, we're at the end of March, and Netflix earnings are coming up on the 18th of April. So earnings are coming up, and that's a whole extra system within a system that we trade. So look, what am I selling here? I said, and I meant it, that I'm not selling anything. But what I am promoting today, and I'm going to zoom to it because I'm only taking 45 minutes today, okay? And just again, because this is so important, the four elements, the weekly market mover, and I showed you what people, how they read it. We have our trade room schedule, what time the trade room opens, the instrument that we're trading or the possible instruments, our YouTube stream, everything's on our schedule. Our software is an important element, of course, the daily market report that has our trade setups, a journal, text about the trade, and of course, access to our trade room. That's what a member who really wants to do this in the best possible way can succeed. If you use all four of the elements, it gives you, in my opinion, the best opportunity for profit if you want to trade the appointment-based trading method. Okay? So I do want to talk about why I'm here today. Besides the fact that I love my family, I love the time that I get to hang out with my family instead of spending all day watching charts. But I want to talk about our upcoming challenge, okay? So we started doing challenges last year. So what is a challenge anyway? For one thing, a challenge is an idea that, for one, we want to create a tremendous amount of education. So a challenge is based on a set time frame. We're going to educate and teach you all about either all aspects of our system. It might be one aspect of our system, but our upcoming challenge is going to be a free 5-day challenge where we're going to teach you the basics of appointment-based trading. I'm going to go over literally everything that you need to do what you saw me do today to trade that FOMC successfully. So here's what I have found out over the years, and I've been doing this for 6 years. How many times, and I'd like you to type in so I know you're actually even listening to me. I would very much like you to type in a yes or a no to this question. Have you ever bought a class or a trade room subscription and never used it? Yes or no? And I would bet that almost everybody has done that. I would bet almost everybody has bought and they, maybe it was too complicated. Maybe, you just bought it on a moment's notice and you shouldn't have bought it. So come on, type in everybody in here. Tell me the truth. Did you ever buy a trading system and not use it? Yes or no? So people are saying couple of no's. Okay, I don't believe you. A couple of no's, but the great majority are a yes because we know that it's true, right? I've done it myself tons of times where I've bought a system and I looked at it, or I just after I bought it, I realized, oh, I shouldn't have bought that. They sold me something that it can't be true, and I don't believe it. I didn't want to do it. So the other idea, the whole point of a challenge is we are going to not only are we going to teach you about our system, but we're going to actually give you little actionable steps to take every day. If it's a 5-day challenge, every day we're going to ask you to do something that's manageable to do, that's going to make you move towards being successful in finishing the challenge. So, besides being able to win prizes and to actually win the challenge, the idea is to have a transformation. The idea is to, if you've never traded before, to learn how to actually trade. Maybe you've never traded live before. So at the end of the challenge, we're going to show you that you can do this live. Maybe you've traded sim only and you're going to trade live. But the idea is to have a transformation, to have it change your life in a meaningful way. So instead of just throwing aside what you purchase, you're going to come into our education for free. I'm going to teach you as much as humanly possible in 5 days about the appointment based trading system, and we're done. It's going to change you in enough. It's going to literally, if we are successful, it's going to transform you. It's either going to teach you to be an appointment based trader, and that would be a significant transformation for many traders. If you never traded live, it's going to teach you to trade live without being afraid all the time. But I'm going to help and hope that I can transform your trading skills into an ultimate, fantastic, usable skill. And I'm not charging anything for you to join this challenge. I'm not selling you the challenge today. All that we're asking you to do today is to sign up on our pre VIP challenge list, okay? So that the second we go live with our challenge, the second we go live, you'll get an email, and the email is basically just going to tell you, okay, now you can register for the challenge. The challenge is going to start April 10th, okay? April 10th. So join our RSVP list, www.fdb challenge. 5-day, uh-oh, basic challenge. I hope that's what it is. 5-day basic challenge, www.fdbchallenge.com. That's it. I don't want to take any money today. I just want to talk a little bit more about why the challenge has been so fantastic. So, the first challenge that we did was, believe it or not, a very long challenge. And it was actually too long. We did a 21-day challenge. By the time we were done, we realized that people were losing focus a little bit. And it was fantastically successful. So many people that never traded learned to set up their account. They got a real account with NinjaTrader. They funded their account. We helped them set up their demo accounts in the beginning, and it was fantastic. It went a little bit long, but it still, when it was done, we had a lot of people that had real transformations. And some of you are here now. Kevon is here, and he was part of our challenge. I see a lot of people here right now. Let me put the challenge in the. Let me type it in. Give me 1 second because people are asking me. FDB challenge.com, so you don't have to write it down. Why wasn't I thinking to begin with? But I see a lot of you here that took that challenge. It really was a fantastic experience. We had a great time. People learned a lot. Also, we had a lot of fun. We sent out 10-minute trade hats to everybody, 10-minute trade journals for people that won the challenge. We had t shirts and hoodies. It was, besides learning, we also create a private Facebook page. Everybody hangs out in the private page, posting information, questions, talking to other people in the challenge. It creates a fantastic community in just in education, and the education is superb. I mean, I don't know how many of you know me, but you know that we're only supposed to do, the idea of the challenge is you do 45 minutes a day teaching the basics. I always do way more than that, teaching way too much. But when people are done, it was just absolutely great. Now, Ron, I'm not going to give away all the elements of the challenge. Ron is asking if you get the software with this. I will tell you this, there's an opportunity to get every element of what we do. So, what I would say is sign up. The challenge to come into the challenge and learn is absolutely free. Okay. www.fdbchallenge.com. Now, I'll happily answer any other questions. So, again, it's really simple. The concept is we are going to teach you about our trading system. If you don't want to spend anything, you don't have to spend anything. And by the end of 5 days, you are going to know if our system is the right type of system that you might want to add to anything else that you're trading. Okay. So, Raju, you're asking what are the timings? You mean when are the classes going to be? When are so in other words, it's like having a class every day for 5 days in a row, and there's no missing days. Okay. And of course, we'll record the classes so that you can review them. And they're not sales classes. This is not 5 days of us banging you over the head trying to get you to buy our system. This is 5 days of unmitigated education about the system. Okay. And we'll start from nuts to, to, to bolts, whatever you call it. From scratch. I'll help you to figure out, if you don't use Ninja, how to use Ninja, how to set up and get a demo account if you need a demo account. Most of you probably are already using Ninja, so we'll start. We'll figure out what everybody is what level everybody's at, and we work towards the level that everybody's at. And you can absolutely still use TOS, Raju, but the reality is, ultimately, to succeed, in my opinion, in the best possible way, you want to be able to use our software. And unfortunately, as much as we would like to, we can't write our software for TOS because they don't have a way that we can integrate our software into TOS. But I do believe that TOS does support chart trading in their futures. So you still could use their charts. It's just better because our software does take some of the difficulty out of trading very fast events. Okay. But you could be trading any system. The education is fantastic. So it's the same thing with TradingView, Chris. I mean, if they have chart trading, you could use TradingView, but ideally, to get the absolute most out of our challenge, NinjaTrader is the way to do it because our software integrates fully into NinjaTrader just as if it was a part of NinjaTrader. So let me just show you one other trade because it's fun. And next week, this trade is coming up. And this is one of our members took this trade. This is a trade called Flash Manufacturing. Actually, this trade is tomorrow. This is Flash Manufacturing. One of our members took this trade with the NQ. I believe he was our trade of the week that week. And you could see the NQ just exploded down for him. No, he was trading ZN. I take that back. He was trading the ZN. It exploded down and he made quite a few $100s on that trade. I think he actually made like 1,200 bucks trading both the NQ and the bonds, the 15-year bonds. That trade's coming up tomorrow. So I can tell you this, at the end of the 5-day challenge, most people absolutely will be able to do what I do. You're not going to be an expert after 5 days, but you'll be able to set up a trade and understand how to do it because that's what we're going to teach. And no, Ninja Caters, Raju, is not the same as Ninja Trader. Ninja Cater, they're a company that sells indicators and robots. They're not the same thing. They're a vendor, okay, of trading products. Okay. Any other questions, folks? So I can't tell you, I believe that the challenge, like I said, besides the fun, the main idea is to have a transformational experience. And I mean that sincerely. I know it sounds ridiculous, it sounds absurd, but it's really true. If you take somebody who was afraid to trade and they leave the challenge and they're not afraid anymore, that's transformational. That's a big deal. That's what we strive to do. We strive to take away your fear. We strive to teach you a system that maybe you never considered before. And there will be each session um, will last probably a minimum of an hour each day, starting April 10th. They'll be recorded. Obviously, it's much better if you can come live because when you come live, you can ask questions and interact. But we stream it on Facebook, and we also have a classroom usually in GoToWebinar. And of course, our class on the trade room takes place in our trade room. And it's just a great experience. And I just want to invite everybody, if you sign up for our pre-list right now, our VIP list, just sign up at www.fdbchallenge.com. And the moment we go live with our registration page, we'll send you an email to sign up, and you'll be one of the first people to know about it because we're not going to take everybody. If it fills up too much, it takes away from being able to concentrate if there's too many people. So we don't want like 1,000 people to come in. Our first challenge, we had actually more than 100, and that was a fantastic number. That was a fantastic number of people to teach. Because remember, not everybody comes. So, if you get 3/4 of that, you get a great class, lots of questions, great education, good trading. We had really good trading in our last challenge. We made money during the challenge trading a couple of weeks ago. It was a very good trading period. And the time usually, um, we usually like to do our classes noon on the trading on the days Monday to Friday. If it's a 5-day challenge, it'll probably start on a Monday, and that's what I'm here for today. So I hope that I got you excited about our challenge, and we also teach about trading futures on earnings. We teach about everything that we do in 10-minute trades. I know that 5 days is a short period of time, but I'm a fanatical, maniacal teacher, and I don't leave until I answer everybody's questions. And I'm really looking forward to this challenge. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And at a minimum, you'll wind up with a really nice 10-minute trades trading hat and a mouse pad. And that's Eastern time. So if are there any other questions that you might have for me, anybody? Um, so each session, it'll probably be at least an hour. I'm sure that will go at least an hour. We will have a challenge workbook that will get released before the challenge. It's sort of like a syllabus of what we'll be going over and the topics that we'll be going over in the trading, and it will teach um, as much about appointment-based trading as we can teach in a 5-day period. It should be a lot of fun, a lot of great education. And I want to thank everybody for hearing me out and giving me your time today. And I can't believe that I'm not asking for money. I don't know how to do a webinar without asking for money, but we just did it and it feels okay. And will your Ninja 8.7 software work? Richard, why would it not? Sure. Why would it not? I don't see why it wouldn't. And I will have a recording of this webinar. So, folks, www.fdbchallenge.com. I'd love to see everybody there. Sign up for our VIP list, and you'll know the second we go live. It'll be soon. And I'll see you in the challenge. And Rahu, send me an email on that. All right. So, Tim, thank you. And I hope, Rory, can you hear me out there? Okay. So, I want to thank you for having me. And as usual, it's always a pleasure doing a webinar with you, Rory, at Rightline. So, thanks again.
I sure can, Lee.
It'll definitely be fun.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
Roy.
much, Lee. I really appreciate that great offer. What the combine sounds incredible and totally free.